Another week of comics are in the books, and today I'm going to be giving you my reviews of all the books. And when I say all the books, I mean it was a huge week for comics. A ton of excellent books. And yeah, a ton of stuff to get through, so let's not waste any time. My name's Alex. This is Graphic Novel Collector, and if you enjoy weekly graphic novel and comic book reviews, previews, top 10 videos, deep dives on certain creators and characters, consider subscribing. And of course, if you like this video, get value out of it, and if maybe it helps you find some new comics, like the video and let me know. Of course, chop it up with me in the comment section below. Let's not waste any more time. Let's start the video as I do each and every week with the pick of the week, and it's going to be the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles issue number 3 by Jason Aaron and Cliff Chiang. Wow, does Jason Aaron know how to write, Leo, or what? Now, each of these first couple of issues here from the new TMNT series are going to have a different artist, but my gosh, was this issue phenomenal or what? Out of the gate, I'm going to already tell you, this is a 4.5, so not a perfect issue, but that being said, it was quite an excellent issue. Wow. So Leo, with these other Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle issues, we're introducing each of the turtles one by one. In the last issue, we got Mikey's story, and at the end of it, Raphael showed up as the Foot Clan were starting to attack his Tokyo penthouse. What? Yeah, Mikey was or is currently a Tokyo star. He's a movie star, essentially, in Japan, and Raphael shows up just as the Foot Clan are attacking Mikey, but Mikey doesn't want Raph. Anyways, this issue, talking about this one, this is the Leo issue, and Leo is my favorite. He's my favorite turtle, and I know that's not a popular thing anymore, but Leo will for always and forever be my favorite. He's the leader. He's very introspective, and Jason Aaron has an amazing voice for the character here. He goes to this island and he is trying to seek enlightenment, but this issue is very dour. You can tell that Leo is very solemn and is trying to find inner peace and inner enlightenment. Like I said, the art is super exciting and kinetic. I really enjoyed it. Don't want to show you too much. There are some panels, though, in here that are awesome. But basically, he is living amongst these turtles. Actual turtles, not mutants, ninjas, or teenagers. They're just turtles. And he's just trying to chill out when, of course, the Foot Clan show up. He kicks butt. And, well, we're starting to, let's just say, assemble the turtles. And I believe in the next issue, we will finally have all 4 turtles together, as it will be Donatello's. But absolutely excellent read. If you're not reading Jason Aaron's current run of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, you definitely should be. It was an awesome issue. Next up, though, we have another book that was a top contender for me for potential pick of the week. Didn't quite get there, but this is Daniel Warren Johnson, Riley Rossimo, and Mike Spicer's The Moon is Following Us. Now, issue number 1, I gave a perfect 5 out of 5. I loved it. I absolutely love Daniel Warren Johnson's storytelling. He knows how to tell a very heartwarming, not even heartwarming, but heartfelt story. It's going to be an emotional roller coaster, as are pretty much all of his books, right? But this is The Moon is Following Us, issue number 2. Let's show you some interiors. Of course, in the last issue, we had the 2 parents in the dreamlike world. Spoiler alert, if you didn't read the first one. In this one, it kind of elaborates a little bit on how Penny, the daughter, got to that dream world and how then they get to the dream world. Basically, they're trying to talk to different doctors and figure out what in the world is going on with their daughter. If you're a parent, this is going to hit differently. Okay? Just a fact. So I am a parent, and I have a daughter that is about the same age as Penny. So, this is emotional roller coaster. Strap in, but they're trying to learn exactly what happened, and I don't even want to give it away because I want you guys to go out and read this. If you want a full spoiler, review, I can definitely do that. Leave it in the comments, and if I get enough, I will definitely do that. But I like I said, I have a lurking feeling that this book will break our heart at some point. This series is an absolutely must read, especially if you are a parent. But yeah, the moon is following us. Issue number 2, 4.5 out of 5. And again, just eked out barely by Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles just because of how well I think Jason Aaron has a voice for Leo specifically. Alrighty. Moving on, we have Wonder Woman. This is one you're probably all wanting to see. This is Wonder Woman, Absolute Wonder Woman, issue number 1 by Kelly Thompson, Hayden Sherman, and Jordi Belair. Look at that amazing, amazing art. This book was excellent. I am happy to say I think that if this character, if Wonder Woman was created today, this is how her origin story. So in the first issue of Absolute Batman, it wasn't a true origin story. We did have scenes of his origin, right? But in this one, I think it is mostly an origin story. I will say I really love the art, and it is very kinetic. You feel everything. Now, basically, they changed their origin, much like they did in Batman. Now, obviously, Batman didn't come from money, and he has his mother. This is basically retelling the story of how Diana is or maybe isn't a Amazon, but regardless, where she was raised is going to have a lot of impact and influence on who she is as a person. She's still Wonder Woman. You know, she's still a good-hearted, magical being that fights for the right causes, but her new background kind of recontextualizes everything, and overall, I thought it was awesome. There was a really awesome fight scene, but that's not to say that this is all just punches, and, you know, she's got this huge Buster sword. It's awesome. It's awesome. But there are some nice moments here with her surrogate mother who raises her, and it really lets us dwell on the more quiet moments in her childhood. We actually just see her grow up in this book, and I really, really enjoyed it. I'm giving this 4 stars. It was a solid book. When you compare, I don't really like, directly comparing both Absolute books, but I think for my money, I just love Batman so much. I think I would take, if I, gun to my head, I had to pick one, I would take Absolute Batman. But that being said, Absolute Wonder Woman was excellent, and you should read it. Oh my gosh. Speaking of Batman, moving on to Detective Comics. This is issue 1090. This is Tom Taylor and Michael Janin. And I gotta say, the colors on this by Michael Janin, holy smokes. Off the rip. This is Mercy of the Father Part 1. And oh baby, this was a good one. I really enjoyed it. We get a look at Thomas Wayne, and they kind of swerve me here because there is this lady. So we're following, back in the day, Thomas Wayne, obviously a doctor. There's this lady who's beat up and I guess was in some kind of car accident, I believe. She's pregnant. Now, she comes in with bruises on her face that isn't, it's not from the car accident. So basically we learn that she was abused by her boyfriend. Obviously, terrible, terrible experience. But because of the Hippocratic Oath that Thomas Wayne took, he says, all life is sacred, and who are we to judge a life's worth? Which is obviously something that Bruce carries with him to this day. They're kind of setting up that, look at this gorgeous art. Oh my gosh. It's so good. I'm loving what they're starting to build here. Detective Comics, not a book that I've really read. I know that Ram V's run was, you know, highly loved by a lot of people, but I'm jumping on here. I'm trying to decide. I've got 3 Bat books right now. Which one should I pick? Should I pick Detective Comics, the mainline Batman, and Absolute Batman? It's not going anywhere, but I do need to drop one of these Batman books. So I think Batman, unless Zdarsky can prove something, this might be my secondary Batman book moving forward. But we're setting up. I'm just going to say it. Joe Chill is in this issue in some form or fashion. I like the way that Tom Taylor is tying this together and kicking this off. And this was a great issue. This was a great issue. I give it 4 stars. Moving on, next up, we're going to hit the indies. The last of these are all going to be indies. But don't go anywhere because we got a ton of books left. This is Null Hunter by Walsh, Vargas, and Carey. And Michael Walsh is in his bag recently. He's been on a ton of books that I've really enjoyed. But look at his art. This is super sick. I wish that more of the big 2 had, some stylistic choices like this. But basically what I can get from this book is we've got a guy who is enhanced by some cyber tech. This is futuristic, cyberpunk kind of vibes. And I didn't even really know anything about this book until I went into the comic store and kind of saw it, flipped through it a little bit. And it was like a game day pickup. But basically, this guy watches his mother die in his arms, and he is kind of programmed almost to just be a killing machine. And there is a, consortium of sorts, except I guess the twist, maybe not the twist, but the interesting nugget of this story is that his dad is kind of pulling the strings. And yeah, this is super interesting though. A lot of potential moving forward. The art I love. The writing was solid. I mean, Michael Walsh, again, one of my favorite up and coming creators, up and coming writers. I'm really loving it. If this was a sleeper pick, if I had a sleeper pick, I guess I should do that. Start a sleeper pick of the week. Null Hunter. Really enjoyed it. You should definitely check it out. I'm gonna give it 3.5 stars. That's a solid start to a brand new book. Next up, we have a book that kind of fallen off this week, this month, this issue. Not as dynamic and punchy. This is Stand Still by Lee Longridge and Andrew Robinson, issue 3 of 8 from Image Comics. And the first 2 issues I absolutely love. This was definitely a shift down in action. And that's not why, really, it's kind of on my chopping block now. I think that we're introducing more characters. We're realizing that maybe the main person, Riker, the guy we're following, he's a bad dude. And we're starting to see that more and more. So there is some interesting plot and character development. That being said, I do love the layout of this book still. It is laid out. The panel breakdown is that of a manga. And I did say the last time I bought this book that this could change modern comics. Now, and I didn't mean that to be hyperbolic. I legitimately meant that. But if the book doesn't stick the landing and the book isn't good, then obviously that's not the case. But basically, Riker breaks into the home of basically what is a Vanderpump Rules kind of movie star. Not even movie star, just somebody who got famous from, I don't know, silliness, in my opinion. But yeah, he breaks into her house, steals a bunch of money, and disperses it, throws it up in the air in the bad part of LA, and the mob come and just, I don't know. I don't want to give too much away, but I don't know. It's kind of hitting a point where I'm like, okay, can we get to this, can we get to the meat of the matter here? Because, we've got the 2 people, and I'm terrible with names in comics, but we got the 2 people that are building their own time machine, and what are we doing? I expected by the end of this issue, we would have had, their time machine would have been made by now, and it's still not done. So I think I might stick around for maybe one more issue just to give it the benefit of the doubt. But stand still. I'm going to give this 2.5 stars this week. Huge drop-off in my mind from the last 2 issues. Moving on to a book that did not have a huge drop-off. This is Tin Can Society by Peter Warren, Francesco Mobley, and Chris Chuckery. This is issue 2 of 9 from Image. This is a Giant Generator imprint, which is Rick Remender's imprint. But basically, we have our titular character. She's trying to round up the Tin Can Society and kind of investigate, because, of course, in the last episode, we had Johnny got murdered. And he is revealed kind of on the second page, as you see, as being this Iron Man type of character. Basically, Johnny was born with a disease that made him kind of paralyzed from the waist down. So he couldn't walk, but he eventually grows up to be this billionaire philanthropist guy, kind of like a Tony Stark, that has all this insane tech that he develops. And basically, he develops this exoskeleton and he fights crime. But now our main character is trying to figure out, because he got murdered in the very first panel of the last book. She's trying to figure out. She believes it's one of the Tin Can Society members, which is what they call their friend group from back in the day. Very, very reminiscent of the Losers Club from Stephen King's It. So it has that kind of vibe in it. It's kind of creepy, very action-packed. I really, really enjoyed it. And yeah, I'm liking what we're building here. Peter Warren, absolutely crushing it. The art is pretty darn good too. It kind of has this brush over look. If you can see that, the colors are pretty vibrant when they need to be. I don't want to give away too much here, but yeah, she has a hunch about one of the characters here, and maybe her hunch isn't right. That's what I'll say. But Tin Can Society, I'm absolutely loving it. I'll give this a solid 3.5 stars, and that's a good book in my rating system. If you get a 3, that's a good book. 3.5 is better than average. So Tin Can Society. Check it out, especially if you like Rick Remender books. This definitely has the vibe of a Rick Remender book because it is Giant Generator. Right on. So, moving on, we have another book that it's on the chopping block. Okay, Mass Macher is issue 2 of 4, Dark Horse Comics. This is David A. Goodman, Alex Andres, Gonzalo Duarte, and Mauro Mantella. At the end of last issue, this was Johnny Hollywood is the main character's name. He is on his way to he's going to try and be a movie star, right? Except he's not very good at acting. So basically, what had happened was the Mass Macher, the original Mass Macher, died somehow. So now they get Johnny to fill in his shoes, and he wrestles a bear. At the end of the last issue, we realize the bear could talk. And I was like, okay, I'll stick around. That's really weird and super out of left field, but I'll check it out. So in this issue, Johnny's trying to make himself and Benny the Bear famous because of Talking Bear, right? You would think that, so he goes out, says, hey, I got a talking bear. Things go down. Cops shoot him. Because a bear, he's huge and he's scaring everyone. So the bear survives. And the perspective of this is Benny the Bear is telling a shrink about his experience. So we're present day talking about all this stuff that happened. What happens in the book is like the past. But there is, some character development. But I don't know. This book is weird. This book is really weird. What is a Mass Macher? It is for Big Shot, obviously, and we all know that. But, I don't know. This book's weird. 2.5 stars. I might not pick up the next issue. This book's just too out of there. It's kooky. It's way out there. Next up, something that isn't out of there and weird. This is also Rick Remender. This is actually written by Rick Remender. This is issue 5 of Grommets. Rick Remender, Brian Posehn, the writing team, Brett Parson, and Moreno DeCino. DeCino? Yeah. Well, our skate punk friends, Brian and Rick, are at a party, and these jocks are causing trouble. That's basically all you need to know in this issue. But this series is taking a turn for the wow, this is kind of scary. Rick here is talking with maybe his love interest, his squeeze, and she's like, yeah, let's swim. And he's like, I don't have a swimming suit. She's like, why do you need a swimming suit? And, I don't know, if you grew up in the 80s or 90s, this is going to hit home. This book is awesome. I really like this series so far. If you skated or listened to punk rock music when you were a kid and you are a certain age, this is going to hit home for you. This is a slice of life kind of book, but it definitely gets turned up to 11 in this book, and the bad guys, the jocks, just beat the crap out of out of Brian and Rick in this book, or not Brian, but Rick does get the crap beat out of him. And it was kind of brutal, considering this book has been pretty tame to this point. Not to say that it doesn't have action or, some exciting moments, but nothing like this, no physical violence until just now. And I'm really liking this book, though. I'm going to give this issue a 3.5. The art is phenomenal. I love kind of the cartoony vibes that we're bringing here. And overall, this kind of reminds me of my childhood. Now, the 80s wasn't my childhood. I was born in the 90s, grew up in the 2000s, but it's very similar, to be honest. So, Grommets, issue number 5. I'm loving this series. I'm definitely going to pick up the next one. You guys should check it out if you are a skate or punk head. All right, next up, we have Frankenstein by Matt Walsh. Hey, wouldn't you know it? I'm sorry, Michael Walsh. Tripping. Tony Marie Griffin on the colors, but Michael Walsh doing everything else, right? And basically, we have Henry Frankenstein's wife here. She comes across a little boy whose dad, grave got robbed and is the hand currently of the Frankenstein monster. And she's very compassionate. Her and Dr. Frankenstein are about to get married, and she's starting to have red flags. Frankenstein kills one of the doctors, not Dr. Frankenstein, but a different doctor in the book. I like where this is heading. So far, I'm enjoying it. This is issue 3, Frankenstein, Universal Monsters. Loving it. The art, in my opinion, is on freaking point. I love it. I love this kind of style. A little bit more expressive. The colors are very, very vibrant. But they can be a little bit more subtle in the slower times in the book. I want to say slow because there is still plot development happening. But you get these huge contrasting colors, reds and blues whenever there's a ton of action happening. And basically when Frankenstein is on the page. And then you take that and juxtapose it to the times when the humans are on the page and they're talking. It's a stark difference. I like it. I like it a lot. Frankenstein, issue number 3. You should be reading this book, especially if you like Frankenstein. All right, moving on to the last book that I picked up. This is Radiant Black. This is the first year. This is a hardcover, massive edition. It's a big chunky boy. Let me know in the comments if you want me to do an overview of it. But yeah, I love Radiant Black. It's my favorite. I've said this before on the channel. My favorite new superhero, Radiant Black. Think Power Rangers, but with a millennial twist. So if you're not a millennial, I don't know how much you'll like it. Your mileage may vary, but I've absolutely loved this series. And moving forward, I'm going to keep reading it. Catalyst War just finished up. This is the first 12 issues. So you got all the first 11 issues. Plus, I think there is a supermassive issue in here. But Radiant Black is awesome. So going through Radiant Black. Excellent. You should all be reading it. It's great. Frankenstein. Excellent storytelling here by Michael Walsh. Love it. It's recontextualizing the original movie from way back in the day. I don't think I rated this, but I will give it a 3.5 stars. Mike Grommets, excellent book. If you're a skater or a punk, especially if you were, growing up in the 80s or 90s, I would even argue in the 2000s, this is going to hit home. The boys get the crap kicked out of them, though, in this book. Takes a turn for the worse. Mass Macher, very weird book. I don't know if I'm going to continue it. It's only a 4-issue series, so maybe I'll just finish it out and stick it through. But, man, you know, comics are expensive these days, so maybe I won't. Maybe I won't. Tin Can Society, I love what we're setting up here. Peter Warren doing a great job. The art is excellent. I love kind of the airbrush feel to it. And, yeah, we're learning. We're going to figure out who murdered poor little Johnny. Next up, we've got Stand Still. I'm not a big fan of this issue. The first 2 issues I loved. This one kind of took a shift down, like it's stuck in second gear. I think the story should be progressing a little bit quicker. So this is definitely on the chopping block for me. Null Hunter. Null Hunter was awesome. This is my sleeper pick of the week. It is by Michael Walsh, go figure. And the art is really sick, like I said. Next up, we've got Detective Comics. Might be my second favorite Bat book right now, next to Absolute Batman. But this is a great book. I really enjoyed it. We're setting up Joe Chill. So if that is a rabbit hole that you don't want to go back down, this book might not be for you. I, however, really liked it. The coloring, the art in here is awesome. And Tom Taylor's setting something up that could be pretty special. And I know that's saying something after Rom V was on that. Huge, huge arc. Then we have Absolute Wonder Woman. Just simply put, you need to read this book. This is great. I love what Kelly Thompson is building. Recontextualizes who she is without taking away the core character that is Wonder Woman. Loved it, loved it, loved it. The Moon is Following Us. Danny Warren Johnson, I'm going to read every book of his. He's only proving that even more. We have kind of the real world side of what we saw in the first issue, and I really enjoyed it. And I think moving forward, this book is going to break our hearts, just straight up. And then the last one, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, issue number 3, the Leo book. Really, really enjoyed it. Leo's my favorite character from the Turtles. That being said, though, I love this. Jason Aaron has an excellent, excellent, excellent voice for the character. And look at this cover. Absolutely gorgeous. Kevin Eastman crushing it. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm not going to edit this video, so this is one full congruent take. Thank you all so much for watching, though. I appreciate you all. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on League of Comic Book Geeks, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Those links will be found below. Make sure in the comment section, if you made it this far, you tell me Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, let's go in the comment section if you made it all the way to the end. I appreciate you all. Thank you all so much for joining me today. And until the next time, I will catch you all on the flippy flop. Adios.